trying to go back to Mahesh Jethmalani. If you can hear me, Mr. Jethmalani, what in your opinion can be done to expedite this process, if at all there is a way to do that? Because the relatives of those people who've died in the 26/11 attacks are saying that it's taken inordinately long for the process to reach this far, and it will probably take as much, if not more time, for the next few steps in this process to take it to its logical conclusion. Surely there must be some way to address those concerns.
Well, I'm sorry, my answer is that it's very depressing. There is no way. What's happened in the past has already taken place, and there's no way you can retrieve the situation so far as the delays so far that have taken place are concerned. So far as the future is concerned, there's really only one more layer, and that's an appeal, not as of right, but as of special leave by the Supreme Court. And that, frankly, shouldn't take as long as the High Court is taken, because the Supreme Court will be able to sift out the vital aspects of this case much faster. I heard Mr. YP Singh saying earlier that, too much evidence was led, and I tend to agree with him. I think the case could have been curtailed, but I think we brought on a surfeit of evidence, much too much evidence, and too many formal witnesses were introduced at the trial court stage, which are wholly unnecessary. And that has caused a lot of delay. But, even so, we really missed the bus when, in fact, we didn't accept Kasab's plea of guilty. Kasab's plea of guilty should have been accepted. It was rejected on an absurd technical ground, and had his plea of guilty been accepted, he would have been hung, and there would have been no appeals either to the High Court or to the Supreme Court, and even his mercy petition, because he had pleaded guilty, would not have been available to him.
No, but
right now,
wasn't it important? Wasn't it important at that point of time to show that India has a fair and balanced legal system, and that any crime, no matter what the gravity of that crime, an accused is entitled to a fair trial? Wasn't it important to show that in a demonstrable way back then?
No, Zaka, listen, first of all, let me tell you one thing. All these arguments about that the Indian system is fair. The Indian system is not on trial. It's not the Indian judicial system that's on trial. Ajmal Kasab, a notorious, dreaded murderer, is on trial. We don't have to flaunt our credentials to the world. We have to give justice to those who deserve justice. That is the victims of Kasab's wrongdoing. That's point number one. In any case, by pleading guilty, we were not denying him, accepting his plea of guilty, we were not denying him a fair trial. If Kasab voluntarily and with no coercion whatsoever made a plea of guilty and said that, look, I accept all the charges, there is no reason on earth why his plea of guilty should not have been accepted. Okay. The reasons given by the government and by the public prosecutor for rejecting his plea of guilty and allowing this protracted trial to continue are absurd and far-fetched.
Okay, that's in the past, and we can't change what's happened in the past. I want to look to the future, and let me get Abbas Kazmi on this. What can be done, Mr. Kazmi, to ensure, and this is a very, very genuine fear, not just amongst the victims or relatives of victims, but amongst every right-thinking individual out there who's seen those horrific scenes that happened on 26/11 and 3 days thereafter. How do we ensure that the Ajmal Amir Kasab case doesn't go the Afzal Guru way, that it's tied up in legal knots?
See, firstly, let me clarify on the point of plea of guilty. When Ajmal had pleaded guilty, the court has accepted actually his plea of guilt. It's only the prosecution which insisted that they want to adduce the further evidence. In order to adduce the further evidence against the wanted absconding accused and against the two accused, the plea of the sentence, the verdict was not passed. But as far as the court records are concerned, the plea of guilt was taken on record and it was accepted. That is firstly. Now, secondly, coming again to the inordinate delay or cutting short, the procedure. I think, as Mr. Jethmalani has said, that, depressingly, we have to accept that the procedure has to be completed in order to send the message to the entire world that we are a civilized nation. We will have to take this trial also like any other trial. But as I said, this trial was a special trial, and we have made all the efforts, all the endeavor to complete this trial in a record time, and which has been completed, and probably the Supreme Court will also take it.